SEO scam alert. Here's the TLDR. One of the students in my community, Local SEO Academy, reached out after meeting with a prospect, and that prospect had shown them the report they get from their SEO agency, and my student was confused. By the time I got done looking through this thing, I realized we might have unveiled one of the worst SEO scams possible. And seriously, this is what gives our industry a bad name. And so basically what I wanted to do was make a video for the small business owners out there that breaks down this scam, helps you understand how to find other scams in our industry and where to look so you don't have this happen to you. And before we get into the report, let's start with a little backstory. The prospect has been doing SEO for about 8 months and they're paying about $500 per month, which I'd say is about on the low end for a decent SEO package. The reason they reached out to my student is they're in a networking group together and they weren't really getting the best results, and they just said, hey, can you put a set of eyes on what this other agency's been doing? And this is super common. This is how I've actually gotten a lot of clients, and I've also had my clients do this on me. We all kind of work out in the open, so you can get audited like this. It's not a big deal. If you're doing a good job, then people should look and say, yeah, they're doing pretty much what they're supposed to be doing. And if you're not, well, it's pretty easy to call it out. But what was interesting for my student is that in this report, she saw things that she had never seen before, and she's actually pretty good at SEO. She's been showing up in her area. She's gotten results for her clients. She's been adding more MRR to her business by getting more clients. So why didn't she recognize the words that were on this report? All right, enough building up suspense. Let's take a look at this report. And one of the first things you might notice is that this does look like a lot of SEO reports I've seen before where they link out to other pages. Now, the links don't actually work, but that's neither here nor there. And also there's a link for an old paintball store that's like embedded in there. It wasn't a paintball store, by the way, so that's kind of a red flag. But anyway, trust me, across the bottom, there's different tabs for different pages of the report. And the very first page is kind of the what we've done section of the report. Now, I want to be honest, I really don't like being held to having to report what we've done. Now, if you want a general idea of the pages we built, things like that, that's in our project management system. We can write you a little summary in about a paragraph. But the thing is, at our local SEO agency, we're always going to do what's best. That's why I don't stick to deliverables. I'm going to guess this person said they're going to do X number of A, Y number of B, and Z number of C every single month. And that's why they're getting a report like this. Don't worry if your SEO agency is doing certain things. Make sure they're moving the needle to actually get results. More on that later. So we have the general summary page, and then they have their first what we've done page. And the first what we've done page points to social bookmarks. Unfamiliar with what social bookmarks are? I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't know what they were when my student asked me. These are literally just like old websites where you could like post links on there. And like, remember, like, SEO comes down to two things: relevancy and authority. Relevancy is telling Google what you do and where you do it. Authority is building authority by getting other websites to point back to yours. So in theory, it would make sense if you're getting listed on the site that would build authority. But the thing is, Google has like a trust indicator. And don't you think they're going to know that when you're going on these social bookmarking sites that maybe it wouldn't be that trustworthy since anybody can do it? The answer is it's not very trustworthy. I recently did a video where I ranked backlinks, and when it came time to rank the bookmark and social links, they got the lowest possible tier. So like, anyway, that's my opinion and also the industry's opinion of these things. So kind of interesting, that's the first thing that showed up on the report. The next thing were Web 2.0 submissions. They basically created these blog pages on Blogger and WordPress and Tumblr that pointed back to their site. Now, this used to be a really good strategy. Again, go back to the ranking video, you'll see I actually gave it a C because I think there's some potential because you can control the links on that site, the anchor text. If you're confused what that means, drop a comment below and I'll explain what that means. But the problem, and I hid the pages here because I want to give some anonymity to the person involved in this situation, but the problem is all those pages were terrible. They were just very, very basic sites that didn't actually serve the purpose of what a Web 2.0 site should actually be doing. And I just want to pause here to have some empathy for the prospect. Like, it's not their fault that they got scammed in this situation. And I'm going to talk about the problem with the industry here after I go through the rest of this report very quickly, because I don't think it's so important to dig into the minutia of the report, but like, everybody is susceptible to this in their business. We've all signed up for a tool or worked with a service provider that didn't do the best. And it can kind of make you just not trust that whole industry or that type of tool or whatever it is. And I know a lot of people that are doing SEO or trying to do SEO watch these videos. So like, please don't follow these tactics. I'm going to explain what you can do differently so you can come from an ethical standpoint that's trying to provide results. Let's go back to the report. The rest of the report's pretty boring. It's talking about ranking on different search engines, including Google, Bing, Yahoo. Funny images. I like that part. Nice touch. But why are they just saying the page? Why aren't they saying the actual number that you're ranking on? That's weird. They also had an optimized keyword list. There were exactly 104 keywords, which makes me feel like they were in a package where they were getting 100 keywords optimized. Again, if somebody's trying to narrow down the amount of keywords they're optimizing for, they're not having your best interest in mind. They should be optimizing for every keyword that you need. I can understand scoping that to an extent, but if you're using keyword clusters, it's really not that hard to optimize for every keyword a client would need. And last but not least, an analytics report, so much information. Just really glad that we have all this right here. And one thing that I teach in Local SEO Academy when we talk about reporting is like when we give clients numbers like this without any context, it's not helpful at all. Like, especially like, look at this one, like their numbers went way down for direct and down for organic search. Like, is this a seasonal change? Like, what's going on here? So hopefully they at least sent a paragraph with this that wasn't just ChatGPT AI slop. And they gave some context to the client for why they think these things were happening. But I'm going to take a wild guess and say maybe they didn't get that. Okay, so let's shift gears here and let's talk about why I think this is actually a scam. Let me be clear. There's a big difference between going out and trying to do SEO and not getting the best results possible. I'll be fully transparent. We've had that happen before. Maybe we tried to take somebody that was outside of our normal niche. Maybe something else happened that was kind of related to the website build or the last agency, and it was just harder to overcome than we anticipated. Most of the time, we get pretty great results. A lot of our clients are showing up on the first page. They're showing up in the map pack. They're showing up in AI overviews. They're getting recommended by ChatGPT, but we're not batting 1,000. And anybody that says they are is probably lying to you. But there is a huge difference between trying to do what you know is going to get results for your client and trying to just make some freaking money, which I think is what's happening here. Let me explain. Many of you are probably familiar with Fiverr and Upwork. These are freelancing sites where you can find people that will do pretty much anything. And so, look at this Performance Max SEO. I want that. Best SEO monthly manager. This is fucking sick. Let's go. But even on Fiverr, I had to specifically look up social bookmarking so that I could find somebody doing this. And you can see here we got our boy, Kader. Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, friend. 4.9 stars. So does a good job. 66 orders completed. He can get you 25 social bookmarks for $5. Look, if we did the math on how much it would take to do the social bookmarks, the Web 2.0 websites, which weren't even done right, and take the time to record the numbers from the tracking from like a virtual assistant, we're looking at a cost of maybe $20 per month for the services provided to this client. You're a small business owner. Imagine if it only cost you $20 and you got $500 back. Like, the profit margin on that is insane. And again, it wouldn't be that big a deal if it actually got results for the client, but everybody's pretty sure that this does nothing, maybe even potentially could be harmful for your SEO efforts. Do you see why I'm a little upset? Let's take a quick pause to talk about how the SEO industry works in general. There's pretty much 3 buckets. Number 1, you have a freelancer. This is a solo person. They do all the SEO themselves. They probably start by undercharging, then they get overworked, then they have to start charging more, and they might get to a place where they find a healthy work-life balance. You should want your SEO person to be running a profitable business, and so hopefully they're charging a fair amount, or they have a small enough capacity where they can actually do that themselves. The freelancer route is kind of hard, but that's the way that some people do it. Now, the main way that people do SEO as a business is they have an agency. And this could be anywhere from just a few people, maybe one person with a couple assistants, to a full-on, multi-location agency with hundreds and thousands of employees. Now, behind the agency model, because that's probably who you're going to work with, there's going to be 2 types of businesses behind the scenes. One is going to be having an in-house team. It's going to be a team of specialists that are working on specific parts of an SEO campaign. The other strategy is the front end of a white label fulfillment system. What does white label mean? White label means you go out and you sell the SEO and you find somebody to do the SEO for you. Not all white label SEO agencies are created equally. They're not all bad, but a lot of the time what they do is they hire a team of people over there that they can charge, kind of like what Kader was charging, and they don't do any analysis of the work. They just hire these people, they trust them, and they mark it up and they sell it to people over here. Now, again, if that gets results for clients, that's fine, right? Who cares at the end of the day how the sausage is being made as long as the sausage is good. But this, my friends, is not good sausage. At Thencan, my local SEO agency, I've slowly and meticulously built up a team, an in-house team that actually consists of people in America and people internationally. But the people I've worked with internationally, I've worked with my developer for 2 years now, and our SEO strategist, shout out to Sajib, that's a hard sentence to say 3 times fast, has been working with our team for over a year, and he handles about 20 campaigns almost on his own with the support of the rest of us kind of alongside him. And it's been amazing to watch him grow and develop. And I've sought him out because of what he was talking about on LinkedIn. We got together, we refined the strategy, and now it's kind of like this synergy that happens between us. But SEO has no barrier to entry. I think that's really cool, but it can also make it so that people can just come in for the wrong reason. So as a small business owner, what the hell do you do about this? How do you decide who you're going to work with? At the end of the day, a lot of this is going to be built on trust. A lot of small businesses only have a certain amount of money for budget. One, you have to decide, is SEO the move for you? And the fact of the matter is, things are changing. AI SEO is becoming more and more of a thing, but if you pay attention to the real news and not the hype, a solid SEO foundation is what's actually helping you get recommended by tools like ChatGPT. So it's almost more important than ever to make sure you're working with an SEO agency that's not only ethical, but also staying ahead. And you can ask all the questions in the world to a good salesperson, but you really don't know what they're doing on the back end. But there is a way to make sure they're following best practices. And so I want to show you the best piece of research that there is in local SEO right now. I went to Oregon State, one of the top research universities in the nation for biology. The difference between biology and marketing is that marketing moves fast. And so we don't have time to sit down and look at meta-analyses before we have to make decisions because our clients will fall massively behind. But this research paper right here is probably the only source you need to look at for local SEO information, at least to stay grounded in the facts. This is Whitespark's 2026 local search ranking factors. Here's the thing, Google is never going to publish their algorithm. They're never going to tell us what's really important. But what I love about these search ranking factors is they go out and they find, the expert contributors, and they say, what do you guys think is working for local SEO? And a lot of these people are the people I look up to in the industry and follow on social media. And hey, look, it's even got this guy. What a smug face he's got there. The best part about this document is it breaks down what's most important for local SEO. It talks about the factors that contribute to the local pack, which I like to call the map pack. It also has the organic factors, which are the little blue links in Google, which by the way are the sources that ChatGPT is citing when it's coming up with its search results. And there's even a new section on AI search visibility factors, as well as some other things over there, as well as some other topics over there on the left. It takes 2 hours to fill out this survey. So you have 50 people that sat down for 2 hours and put everything they're doing in their agency or personally to help clients show up higher in local SEO. It really comes down to 3 things: Google Business Profile, website, and building authority by getting other links to point back to your website. I actually broke all this down in our local SEO for beginners course right here. So you're going to want to check out that video if you're still figuring out the basics. But if you've been paying for SEO for a long time and it feels like you're stuck, it feels like you haven't been getting the results you were expecting to get, well, I think it's time to reach out to your agency and say, hey, what are we doing here? Or maybe you're looking for an SEO agency to work with and you're like, what things should I be listening to hear them say? If they're not talking about the Google Business Profile and getting reviews for that, if they're not talking about your website and helping get service pages and location pages, because those are your money pages that actually make you money, and they're not talking about building authority over time, and I'm not talking about social bookmarks, I'm talking about real links like locally sourced citations as well as industry source citations, then you don't want to work with these people. Look, no business owner wants to get screwed by a service provider. I feel bad for my student's prospect, but I also feel hopeful because even though she's been working with this giant agency that's been helping dozens of clients in her area for a long time now, my hope is that this prospect starts working with my student because I know my student's going to follow the delivery process that we lay out in Local SEO Academy. And I'm strongly believe that for this prospect, she can get massive results or at least better results than what she's getting right now. And there's a power getting good results for a client. They turn around and they tell their friends, they become your biggest advocates. And I'm starting to believe that my student might be the go-to agency in that area in not too long. Look, if you do SEO, all I ask you to do is put your why first. If your why is making money, honestly, that's not really an inherently bad thing, but just make sure that your second highest why is providing results for your clients. Those things can come in tandem. If that agency could just increase their spend a little bit more, maybe pull a couple more levers, they might actually get results for their clients. But right now, all they're doing is taking their money, and I can't stand for it. If you made it this far in the video, I would love if one, you could hit that like button so that other people could see this, and two, if you could leave a comment and tell me about any SEO scams that you've seen out there, so that way people can work more with the good SEO companies out there. All right, I know I took a little bit longer than I wanted to breaking this one down, but I was really emotional about it. I wanted to make sure I got everything out here. So if you stuck with me all the way to this point, what I encourage you to do after you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss all the videos about local SEO, AI SEO in 2026 and beyond, you'll watch this video right here, which is going to break down the SEO agency red flags that you should also be looking out for if you're hiring a new one, and I'll catch you in that one.